if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna be like lazy and destroy everything and then recreate it. Hi, my name is Julie. I'm an engineer at Microsoft, and I'm not sure you really want to watch this unless you want to see me suffer over 4 hours, over 2 days, just trying to add some Azure AD groups to an existing project. But no, seriously, I've condensed it into 30 minutes, and you'll see that I didn't realize Azure was down. I didn't realize the issue was with my M1 MacBook Pro because the silicon chips weren't supported yet by all the Terraform providers I was using. And then finally, the interesting real-world engineering bit, which is reconciling Terraform State. So some groups were missing because they were deleted, and Terraform was trying to find them. And so what you get to see is sort of me finally realizing that's the issue, figuring out what's the right Terraform syntax that I need to use to delete those particular resources so that I don't have to delete everything and start all over, and then fixing it. So without further ado, enjoy. Okay, so I have access to the state file locally, and I want to... Authentication failed. Okay. And so I want to do this from my local machine and not from Azure DevOps because it would take forever for me to make commits, push and wait, make commits, push and wait. So no, I'm going to do it locally. My SAS token for the state file expired. So I'm going to cheat and come in here. So I have a SAS token here. And I don't care if you see what my, let's see, here's the token. I don't care if you see what the token is because I am not publishing this video today. So the day after I recorded this video, I was pretty sure it was due to Azure being down. And I remember as well at some point checking the status.azure.com site and I was like, oh, it's not me, it's Azure. Because why else would it be that you generate a SAS token and it doesn't work, right? Like at all. I think in retrospect, I should have done a curl to see if it was me. Azure did have issues, but if I look at the status page now, like over a week later, the timestamps don't quite line up. Removing that Terraform folder is the equivalent of, did you turn it off and on again? Okay, so let's try this again. Okay, so yes, this is what happens when you worked on something like 6 weeks ago, a month and a half ago. A theme of this episode is that I'm not reading the error messages properly. So I probably shouldn't code between meetings. I have a meeting now. So the next day, Azure AD was back up and working normally again. And the first thing I did using my old computer now was to lock down the various versions of the Terraform Providers, which I've skipped in this video. I think I know what I did here, which is I made a new token, so I don't need that anymore. Okay, so let's try again. And this time I will read the message more clearly. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think what's probably happening is that I updated the Terraform provider version and the old one that I had was like Azure DevOps 001. And I think the current one was Microsoft Azure DevOps, I think 0.1 something. So it actually jumped kind of like a whole number. And I'm going to guess that there's some things that are now required and I don't have them. I don't know. The nice thing is that Terraform tells me where to look. So I'm just going to do a search. Main sounds good. Team projects, and it is missing the name requirement, but no definition was found. Ooh, this team projects. It might be that instead of project name, it's now called actually just name. before I mindlessly change it, which actually is probably what I would normally do, but let's look at the docs. Project name indeed no longer exists, so now it's called name. Okay, so that's easy to fix. Okay, let's just call it name. Let's see what I changed. Whoops. Okay. Oh my God. This is driving me crazy. Docker's starting up and you can hear my my machine blaring, driving me crazy because I'm getting Microsoft errors about the machine being managed, and that was like, I think I forget what it's called, file vault, where the hard drive is encrypted, and it is, and the email says that the telemetry apparently is not reporting correctly, but I need to basically decrypt the entire hard drive and re-encrypt it, which will take hours, probably something to do overnight, which I don't have time to do. Okay, anyway, let's try this again. One more. So under service connection. Service connection. Service connection main. So yes, here's another project name. So let's fast forward a bit. Terraform plan always takes a while because of all the API calls. Personal access token is required. So I'm gonna guess that it is in the wrong place because the provider changed or the token expired. I am somebody who uses tokens that expire regularly, so I give myself a little bit of headache. Okay, so this is probably not there. I'm gonna do a take and maybe see if I can switch back at some point to the other computer because this is really loud. Okay, I checked the token, it wasn't it. If I scroll back up, saved a lot of me just trying to figure out why. There were network errors, and yeah, network, you just have to wait. Okay, so let's run this. This looks okay. While this runs. Okay, cool. It just updated the state because of property change. It didn't have to do anything. Awesome. So that means we can commit this. And I'll explain the sample in a bit. So let's do, just what have we have here? That looks good. Main module. Azure DevOps. Use. Let's just say resource name changed. Well, resource required property changed. So that's what it is. Okay, so let's find where I'm making the Azure AD groups. I'm going to make it bigger now. My code editor, I don't need the service connection. Here's DevOps permissions. So here are the various groups. I'm importing them, right? Administrators, these are Azure DevOps groups. Where's Azure AD? You know, this might be actually a good, these are Azure AD. Sorry, so this might be a good idea actually for me to maybe restructure it to see where I'm making the groups and put that in its own sort of module. Although I think I skipped it. I think it's up here. Okay, so for each variable groups, let's see, variables. Okay, and I just set them as default. Okay, so this will pretty kind of easy. I think I'm just wondering where I'm gonna put the all. All right, let's do this first. Fruits devs. So we're gonna make this devs, and this will be all. This will be fruits all. All devs. Okay, let's format it nicely again. So this should give me the AAD groups that I want. All devs admin, all devs admin. Okay. So let's go back and see what this does. So at this point, I'm just creating the groups, right? Even if this actually passes the plan, it's like valid syntax and it can generate the groups. I'm not going to actually apply it or commit it, because the next step is then to properly actually assign the permissions. Okay, so there's something it doesn't like. Let's see, invalid index. Each team.value. Oh, that's because I renamed fruits all. All right, so that's because this is a key for Terraform and I renamed it. So let's do that just to make it pass. Lovely, network error. All right, that usually takes just a bit of time for it to work. So let's try again. And okay. So this is another example of real life engineering. If something's already working, you got to make sure that the iterative steps when you extend something actually are compatible. Perfect. So it's going to do a bunch of stuff. Let's not do it quite yet, because I want to check the permissions. This does service principals. This does the permissions bit. So I have contributors and project admins. So if you remember correctly, what we want to do is change the contributors to basically just the devs. In the previous one, I had a group for admins and a group for everybody. Now I need a separate group for developers so that the strange permissions model in Azure DevOps is adhered to. So, okay. That's a team role, contributors. What is going to change is the AAD group ID. Okay, so these are contributors, the team group. Okay, so I am passing this AAD group in. This is probably the team AAD, which I should actually rename to devs. But let me just put that here. Rename to devs AAD ID. Again, not doing it yet because I want to get things working before I refactor and optimize. So that means this is probably being called from here. So here are my groups, my projects. For each name, here we go, standard permissions. So team AAD, AAD groups, each value team ID. Ooh, okay, I think I know what it is. So I think I called it devs, perfect. So then this, oh, fat fingers, here we go. So we'll do the same string interpolation, but instead of admins, we're going to give them the devs IDs. Okay, and this is the only place I set permissions. Those are the standard permissions. Oh, the supermarket is going to break. Yeah. Market collab model with devs, admins, and all. Okay, so let's do another plan to make sure that permissions will now be applied with the dev group. Another network error. Wait a bit. And change my camera battery. So change the battery, running this again, the network's working. Random thing, this awesome cup, do epic shit, which is what we're gonna do today, is from work. Let me think. What else do I need to do? Something's not working. Is an object with 8 attributes. This is why it's not gonna work. So, all right. So this doesn't have like a devs. I don't want to create an infra devs group, although I suppose ultimately you will, because in terms of governance structure, you probably will also have a group, a subset in that group that has elevated permissions. So I need infra devs as well. All right, let's try again. And what I should do now that I look at this as well is that it's not good that I put all of this in the defaults. I should, in the default variables file, I should actually separate this out. But not right now. Let's get this working first. All right, not going to apply without reading it a little bit. So Terraform, all the red, there's a lot of red there. Replace means that's going to be deleted, which is fine. I know the AAD groups, that's okay. They need to be. So this forces replacement. So that means that actually this should be a security group, which is fine. That's going to be entirely replaced. A security group within Azure DevOps. The membership, which also makes sense. So we create the security group for Azure DevOps, and then we attach the, or we assign the Azure Active Directory group to it. So that's fine. That's all going to be replaced. Membership, yada, yada, yada. That's fine. Okay. What I'm looking for is it's changing memberships. That's fine, but it's not, if those permissions disappear for a few minutes, or let's just pretend this is a real life scenario, that's okay. We can deal with that. Access policy as well can be okay, just be a permissions issue. The most important thing is to check that you're not losing the resource, right? Which basically means you're losing data. I'm not losing it. I'm just going to lose an access policy. I'm going to assume that this will be correct. When it gets recreated, and assignment, access policy, assignment, access policy, assignment, assignment, and changes to the outputs. That's fine. Okay, so let's run this. And I'm really curious if you can hear the MacBook Pro fan running. One of the reasons why I grabbed the new M1 MacBook Pro is that that has a GPU in it. And so things like this, where I'm recording the screen, I'm recording video, etc., I'm hoping that the other computer can handle it better. So it can't find something. Something is missing. So I'm just going to run it again, because it might be that there's a dependency on a new Azure AD group that doesn't yet exist, right? So Terraform said, hey, please do this. And the Azure API says, sure, okay. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's already been created. So sometimes you just need to wait a few seconds, a few minutes, and then it will work. That's real life engineering. Did you turn it on and off again? Or off and on again? Let's try again. Okay. So I created a new Terraform plan after the first one errored out, because when it tried to do something, it might say, oh, this plan is now stale if I try to run it again. Oh, crap. Same issue. I really hate this script. Azure servers. Right. So now slow down. Center Provisions is trying to destroy this, which no longer exists. Alright, so I hate this. I hate this because I find the Azure DevOps error messages do not be friendly. I'm gonna finish it. So the reason why I know that's network, RPC is remote procedural call. At least that's my assumption. Try again. And now it's just refreshing state. Okay, so this is working. Workspaces. Okay, so the output doesn't show the devs, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that I didn't put in the output section. Yeah, so I do have permissions, this is everything, but this. This looks okay. Service principles. I thought I changed that to dev. Okay, for standard permissions. Oh, right, this is the supermarket again. Let's see if this helps. I kind of doubt it, but did I call it dev or devs? Devs. Okay. So makes sense. Admins is plural, so let's do that as well. And the collaborative permissions. Devs. Devs. Each value team admins. Okay. All right, try. Okay, let's fast forward a lot of me just sort of poking around. Do you know what the issue is based on this error message? Okay, so I've had lunch and I know what the issue is. So I think I mentioned that it's going to be because the groups changed, there's some dependencies that I didn't sort of map out. Terraform couldn't figure it out, etc. So what I did to debug was I built something actually ages ago, because this is what I don't like, October. I don't like Azure DevOps permissions debugging, in the sense that it's just sort of like really confusing. So I did this little Node.js script to query the API, which is actually just using the CLI under the hood. And you can see that basically right now, all I have is the admins. The previously, the sort of group that without the admin suffix is missing. I'm not going to export to a JSON file because I want to show what's already there. It's a little bit ugly in this interface, but basically you should see that these other sort of groups are missing. Like all these contributors are now missing. So if I exit this, I think if you saw before, I only have administrators. So all the contributors that Terraform is expecting to find are missing. What I'm going to try now is to remove them from the Terraform state, sort of by hand. And the idea is that maybe it will like forget it and then stop throwing errors at me that it's missing. And if you read the docs here, it says that it's important to understand that those resources are not going to be physically destroyed. In my case, they're already gone anyway. It just means that Terraform will realize it's no longer managed by Terraform. And so it should then kind of, stop throwing these errors at me. So the question is, what is the name of the resource ID that I want to remove, right? So here they see packet device worker, module foo, etc. And this is where it's going to be challenging for me, is that I've created them in a loop, in a for each loop. So, it's going back here, reading the team group. Okay, the role assignment. Maybe it's just this. This is me being a little bit sloppy, but again, I am short for time today. TF state RM. Let's remove that. Oh, doesn't exist. Right, because it says it could destroy that, the key vault policy. Or not. This is what it's not able to destroy. Module shared. Yeah, no matches. Maybe it's this one. TF state RM. Actually, let me just make sure it's actually calling Terraform. It is. Good. I was just a little bit confused because it says that but this is indeed the thing it can't find. What can I do? State. TF state show. It says it doesn't exist, so let's see what this does exist. Okay, this is good. Let me actually, what is that error? not helpful. Mm-hmm. Not opening that one. That's an IP address. These I open quickly because it's Microsoft and Visual Studio. Another IP address. Yeah. All right. Let's see. How do I get this out of the state? All right. What I want to avoid doing, because I'm recording this, is to examine the state file, because it does have service principals, etc. So there will be credentials in there. And this will be created. This will be created. This must be replaced. All right, let's try this TF state RM. Nope. So let's see. Module workspace shared. Role assignment team members. Module workspace shared. Where's my role assignments? Role assignment. Team members indeed no longer exist. So I have team admins. So what the hell is tied to this? Okay, I'm stubborn, but I found the issue. So there's two more things here that they can't find and destroy. And I went back, slowed down a little bit. Oh, look, there's a single quote. Probably because of this somehow, the for each and whatnot. And yeah, that was it. So this was the Project Fruits one, right? So remember I said ZSH, there was something funky about that. And on this side, I'm listing it. And I was like, this exists. So why is it telling me it doesn't exist? And duh, okay, quotes. So let's remove the last one. And then I think we will be good. Plan. So I'm going to stop here. At this point, I found the issue, which is the most important bit. I now just sort of go look for and update the references so that it finally can properly build. But my computer eventually crashes. You can hear that it's getting louder and louder the whole time. And also my hard drive is getting fuller and fuller to the point where, yeah, it crashes and I actually lose the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this Watch Me Code episode, even though they take way longer to do than other videos, because cutting them takes a really long time. But on the other hand, I'm kind of proud of these videos where I, do real life stuff and eventually figure it out, don't give up. And I hope that people find this useful beyond the sort of what I personally find to be superficial hello world examples that don't really reflect real life. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel for some more videos, and see you soon.